We are the people, and this is our podcast. I wrote a jingle because a man, there was a battle between the smug man and the one true smuggest mug. It did stand up. Wish you had pants, cause now I'm feeling cut. We are the people, and this is our podcast.
Recording in progress. Hello, buckaroos.
Hey!
It's your boy, Weaver and Gall. It's your boys, Weaver and Gall. We are here back. I don't know.
A second Weaver jingle? Can we be so
Yeah.
lucky?
Feels a little bit like Chip and Dale's, Weaver and Gall.
I didn't know what the Chip and Dale's theme song was. Is that what it actually?
Rescue Ranger, Chip and Dale's, when your name. We're your neighbors?
The Chipmunks?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like Chip and Dale's, like the male dancers.
No, much more innocent.
I was like, how do you know the theme song for the male dancers franchise?
But also, I mean, it could work. You got the booty to back up a Chip and Dale
judging
career.
by our moves on the dance floor this past weekend.
And
with that, why don't we just dive in? As we all know, we had a wonderful festivities over the past weekend in Sonoma County, celebrating Adam and Noel. To detail my travels there, Chelsea and I took a flight up to Oakland on Thursday night. We then took an Uber to Livermore, which, by the way, I didn't even remember this until right now, but our Uber driver was this middle-aged man who was like pretty nice, asking us all the standard questions. And like the trip from the Oakland airport to Livermore is, I don't know, like half hour, 40-ish minutes, right? So it's like a healthy trip. And we were kind of worried if someone would grab us or not. But he did. And we were chatting, and eventually we stopped chatting. And, if you're in an Uber, they have like their phone up on the dash with the map. He got a text that I saw that was from a beautiful daughter number one. And so I was like, wow, what a sweet dad. This guy. And then I was like, how many beautiful daughters does he have?
Dude,
anyway, that's a fun story.
Question: how much was a 40-minute Uber from the airport?
Maybe like $42 or something like that.
What? That's nothing. The other day, I took an Uber to the airport, and it was $50 from downtown Santa Barbara. And I was shook to my core. It's so frustrating that
dude, there's got to be a lot that goes into it, like supply and demand, what the date is. Like the Sunday after Thanksgiving, Chelsea and I also took an Uber that was expensive, right? Because it's like one of the highest travel days of the year. I wonder if they also take into account like the demographic information in the surrounding area, like what is affordable, right? Like, I don't know if like a Uber in Santa Barbara traveling the same distance costs as much as an Uber in Oakland, right? But yeah, $50 is a fuck ton. That's when you got to call up a taxi, right? It's like
what? This is crazy. Yeah, I feel like for the past, however long they've been around, it's got to be like close to 7 years now, right? They've just been like hemorrhaging money, just trying to build up their contractors, build up their Uber army, their Lyft army, just having reduced rates, just trying to create this dependency. And then now that historic bull market is over, the time for bleeding money is gone, and they need to start generating those profits.
100%. Also, if you recall, we voted on the ballot to increase, I don't know what it was, like the wages or healthcare, like all the above for these. It was adding healthcare, right? It was like part-time workers, and if they deserve to have some kind of company provided healthcare, and probably also raising their wage too. And I think it passed. And so of course those costs go to the customer, right? Like that.
Right.
It's like, I think societally we agreed to pay more per ride so these people could like survive, right?
Yeah.
But of course
I
we're going to complain afterwards about it.
Yeah, I really wish that there was a better way to track how our voting history affects our present and future, right? Like whenever I go through these propositions, I'm just like try to weigh the pros and cons of them, but you never really know what the downstream effects are going to be. And I feel like it's in one ear, out the other as far as these propositions go. Like you reminded me that I voted for that. Yeah, I think that, contract work is fucking whack and it's just companies trying to outsource cheap labor. But like, it's been gone. It's been off my radar for so long. And now to hear it coming back around, like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Plus, like I always vote for more gas tax for, like whatever reason, And so like, yeah, that factors into Uber prices as well. Like, all right, well, I guess I'll just go fuck myself. And
Well, that's Joe Biden's fault. He's the one that set the gas prices, and let's ignore that they're at a all-time low for the past like 13 months.
I know, yeah. I want to have that campsite conversation with some of my family members.
Anyway, we take this Uber to Livermore. We show up. Amber and Stu are there. They're setting up their Christmas tree. They got Christmas music playing. The cats are running around being all crazy. Nice little Guinness. We play some board games. We got some games of Skull in as we were anxiously awaiting the arrival of the Weaver Mobile. We had some chicken noodle soup. Well, actually, it was just chicken soup. Chicken noodle soup minus the noodles that Amber had made, which was delightful. Of course, we dive into the whiskey drinking. And then you all show up, play some more games, drink some more things. And then we went to bed. Would you like to describe your travels on Thursday before we move on to the rest of the weekend?
Yeah, totally. So the fun part about being unemployed is you have all sorts of time to pack and everything. And so naturally my list was quite extensive of things that I needed to do before we left. So that included like, cleaning up the house, getting the oil change, making sure that I was packed, making sure that the car was packed, right? Just waiting like Stu used to call himself Stuarella when he was unemployed. I feel that strongly now.
Weaverella.
Weaverella, yeah. So just like biding my time, waiting for Ash to get off work. And then, she does. And it's like this weird, like, we're not in a rush, but also we want to get on the road as quickly as possible. But also, like, let's not stress. We'll get there. And so then it was, speak of the devil, working from home.
Before you move on, I do want to ask, are you a couple that is in line with like punctuality and timeliness, or are you like my relationship where one of us is more flexible and free flowing and the other one of us gets very anal when we start to approach our estimated time of departure?
Yeah, good question. I think that more often than not, I'll get that travel anxiety, though there are times when we switch. There's usually one of us that's like anxious and then the other one is like chill. And so we can like lean on the person in that regard. At the different stages of travel too. But like in the moments leading up to it, I really, really like have a hard time being like chill, like breathe, it's okay, like this is fine. We'll get there when we get there in the very beginning.
We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. So different wavelengths, but usually it's in a good way where we balance each other out. But then there's sometimes when we're both high anxiety and that is never a good synchronous wave to be riding. But in this regard, we were doing great. Like Ashley had packed like 2 nights before just in preparation.
Nice.
So that was chill. Yeah. I had made us sandwiches for the road, got a bunch of snacks. And then we just took off, and like a majority of the ride, we didn't even have music, like really as a predominant thing. Like we were just like the conversation was flowing, which is so awesome to have in a travel partner. Um, then yeah, I complained to you guys about this that night, but like I think it's so crazy that always the like last half hour of your commute is the most stressful. Like oh, and you probably it's because you travel two cities, right? And so like when you get to your destination, like there's all these crazy city drivers. Well, again, we had the same situation driving to Livermore. Like one of the freeways that we were on condensed down to one lane because there was just massive construction and people were like driving on their shoulders, trying to like just get ahead, and people were like zigging and zagging, and I'm just like chilling with my cruise control. I've been driving for 5 hours. At this point, I'm just like Thomas the Tank Engine, just trying to get to the little tank engine that could get to my
I
destination.
think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, then we arrive and it's like 10:20. We were supposed to get there at 11, so we like crushed it. And then yeah, immediately Stu poured me some whiskey. He's like, "You look like you need it." I was like, "I feel like I need it." Yeah, and then we got to play some Skull. We got to play some Sky Joe, and that was just like a lovely little like way to end the night. Except for the fact that Stu and Amber just forced scotch down my gullet against my will.
There was a portion where you asked for a shot.
Yes, I mean, I told this story so many times.
It's a good one.
It's so funny when I always notice this in other people when somebody gets fixated on a little like story or thing that happened. You just hear the same story over and over. And I was that guy talking about trying to take a move back in Sky Joe. And so I asked to take a shot in order to take my move back. And then like this crazy magical moment, Stu and Amber just did this like little whirlwind of flurry of activity, and all of a sudden there's liquor being poured into a crystal shot glass for me. And Stu had also already completed his move, so I couldn't.
So the opportunity is missed. Yeah.
And like they tried to play dumb, like they had never heard this shot rule to take your turn back, and you were the only person that defended me on this. Everybody else was like, "No, you just wanted a shot," and no, I didn't just want a shot, but I took it anyways because it was already poured. Yeah. So then, that basically ruined my next morning to like early afternoon because I was so hungover. But yeah, that was about Friday.
We had agreed upon departure time of noon, high noon. We woke up, we had a nice breakfast, everyone's helping out. It's a lazy morning. There were multiple groups that like went on walks, like Chelsea went on a walk, and then you and Ashley went on a walk, and Stu and Amber actually went to a doctor's appointment. So people were kind of in and out, but all like agreed like, all right, well, we'll head to Sonoma at noon. Well, like noon rolls around, of course, the gals had like gone shopping, or some faction of the gals had gone shopping, and they're still shopping. And so, and like you and me, we had already packed. So we're just kind of like sitting around. Actually, okay, that's not true. There was a soccer game, right? So we had some soccer watching going on. So it wasn't completely without activity, but still 12 becomes 12:30, 12:30 becomes 12:45. Oh, now the ladies get in between 12:45 and 1. Then we packed the car, which, side note, was hilarious because like Amber had unpacked their car, which was full of like Stu's like show stuff, his music stuff, and she's trying to be helpful and like expedite the process, but this resulted in just like a pile of Stu's stuff in their entryway. And then Stu like found it like later on, and it was like, oh, this is great that all my stuff is just in this pile. Things are like piled on top of each other and may or may not have been sensitive equipment. Who knows? So that's a little fun subplot. Eventually, we get everybody and all of our shit in 2 cars, which is 4 people plus all the bags plus a TV that you were bringing bacon, plus whatever
Mason's
else.
board
A
games.
bunch of board games that were being transferred. So we had 2 cars packed to the brim. I should back up and thank the gals who, although they did push out our departure time, they did pick up a bunch of road sodas and, you know, pre-rehearsal, pre-dinner, pre-cocktail party libations. So, you know, I would be remiss not to mention that.
Round of applause to the plus ones.
And we split into the cars. You and Ashley go in yours with a bunch of shit. Chelsea and I go with the goods. I'm sitting in the back with Chelsea doing our drinking claws on the way. We're having a grand old time. Show up to Sonoma, check into the hotel. It's so funny because like we passed Adam on the street, like we saw Adam, like, hey Adam, and I'm a few claws deep, and like Adam's like standing on the tree with his dad, and I was like, hey, do you want a claw? And he was like, no. And then we like drove away, and I was like, maybe that wasn't an appropriate time to ask if he wanted a claw. Well, whatever. It's the wedding weekend. And then we go to the rehearsal at the Castle venue, which is really nice. We got to meet the most of the gals on the bridal party side. Practice walking in, walking out, walking in. Who we're gonna be walking with? Reverse walk in, reverse walk in,
Walking backwards, walking
backwards, walking forwards. Yep, side to side. We're, you know, cracking jokes about how we're gonna like. So Stu and I were sharing a bridesmaid, how we're gonna like lift her up on our shoulders, or, you know, do some kind of like dirty dancing, like, and you know, that kind of thing. I've had a time of my life. That's what I'm. In any case, that didn't happen. Then we went to dinner downtown Sonoma. It's a really nice place, which we should not have done because there was so much food at the cocktail hour. Then we got all fancy, went to the cocktail hour. All of the bros started showing up, right? So it was just like us 3 couples, and then we saw O'Malley and Kelsey, and of course Adam and Noel were in and out, and they were all there. And then like in 2s and 3s, like, you know, Brad and Kendra showed up, and then like Kurt and Pat and Bill showed up, and Pebbles and Blake showed up. And so that was kind of fun to just be there and be like, hey, hey, hey. Your turn.
Yeah, that was super dope. 2 of the largest charcuterie boards that I've ever seen in my life. They were amazing. There was the servers kept coming out with just like the most amazing field. The hors d'oeuvres Adam and Noel picked were A plus, 10 out of 10. Each and every single one of them was amazing. At those events, I always try to yuck it up with the servers a little bit, and so one of those guys like knew that me and Michael were just like fiending over the baby back rib sandwiches, grilled cheeses. And so we're like, like, yo, man, anytime you bring those sandwiches out, you know, you come to us first. And he did it. It was so awesome. And I was like, all right, dude, I think I got 2 more in me. And he was like, you can do better than that. And so like, I think I pushed through and ate like 4 or 5 more, just feeling kind of awful, but also loving every second of it. Yeah,
Brad and I got to know one of the women behind the counter, Joyce. She was like the older lady. She was helping ladle the
mulled wine.
Mulled wine, because it was getting all stuck at the spout from all those citrus pieces. And
yeah,
so she was a big help. Shout out Joyce.
I was joking with Joyce that they needed to do a redneck DIY project and go grab one of the hair filters that you have in your shower, and just put it on the
inside the tub.
Yeah, so that the spigot would be safe from the goods.
You know, those things also can be clogged.
Yes, it's true. That's why it's a redneck.
Then you just redneck DIY the redneck DIY.
We need layers of filters.
You just use the ladle and you scoop it out the top.
It's filterception at its finest. Yeah, it was a great time, and it was funny, like cocktail attire, like optional, I think is what it said, with you know, holiday colors encouraged. And so like when we were all getting ready in the hotel, I was so self-conscious. I didn't want to have my like, when's the golf time? When's your tea time, Weaver moment? Because like O'Malley was wearing a suit with a tie, and like when we show up, I'm like dressed nicely. I have my looooves on, I have dress shoes on, I've got a nice collared t-shirt and a nice like one of my better sweaters. It's my best sweater.
Your
If we're
better
being honest,
sweater.
it's my best sweater. It's not even a better sweater. I like that though. And I'm in the first car to arrive with Mason and Michael, Kelsey and O'Malley, and we show up and it's O'Malley and Noel and like the immediate like family squad. I think it's like Noel's sister and brother and like their like crew, and they are dressed to the nines, like 9.9 out of 9. And I was just like, I just like melted a little bit. I was like, oh fuck. I'm way underdressed for this. And you know, that moment of like, ugh, I'm like, I'm too underdressed. I'm also too sober. Like, I need to like drink quickly. And then to your point, like as the night went on, you know, there was like the mixture. Like some people came in and they were just like decked out in cocktail attire, and then there was, you know, Curtis and Pat Fitzpat who were a little bit they were the other end of the spectrum, right? Like
The eccentric side.
they took the holiday recommendation to be stronger. But overall, it was like great company. It was fun to like start to mingle with those different groups. But yeah, it was very funny to see all the different like friend groups that were at the wedding. Like Adam's family was there, Noel's family there, you know, like, and then like random interminglings through hors d'oeuvres.
They had
Mostly.
an awesome giant Christmas tree that a bunch of people started taking pictures in front of. I remember seeing that and I turned to Chelsea and I was like, that's a big ass tree. And then maybe like 5 minutes later, O'Malley walks up to me and he's like, that's a big ass tree. I was like, that's what I said.
Yes.
Tell
That's
us
dope.
about Saturday.
I wanted to show. Here's here's
The
a
big ass
picture
tree.
of the big ass tree for our
Yeah,
YouTube watchers.
the tree is
Picture of me
twice
and
the size of
Ashley.
those people.
Yeah. Really fun thing though. Like Ashley was looking hot that night, and I was like, oh, this is a good combination. You know, like me from my humble beginnings, and then Ashley's just the rock star of the relationship for that night. It was cool. It was a classic, like he pulled that moment in my
Oh
mind.
yeah,
I was
the ladies were
loving it.
looking
Yeah.
good.
The ladies were looking good. Yeah.
That's why I had an early bedtime that night.
Bro, you and your bedtimes over the wedding weekend were the worst.
No, Saturday was very needed. I was getting all drunk and ornery. It was yeah, the post wedding. Yeah, whatever. We'll get to there. But anyway, Saturday.
Saturday. Oh yeah. What do we do on Saturday? We
What
wake
happened
up.
on Saturday?
That's the big day. The big day. We wake up. Adam wanted to go out to breakfast, and so we do. But you know, I like made sure to text everybody like breakfast at 9:30, breakfast at 9:30. And so like all the boys are ready at 9:30 in the lobby except for one.
9:20.
9:20, yeah. F. And so like texting Stuart, no reply. I go up and like knock on his door, silence. There's nothing going on. Really funny. We had Oh, we forgot to mention at the rehearsal, Adam gave a groomsman little like gifts, and so part of that was like we each got a bottle of liquor, and so that night after the cocktail hour, we decided to like sit in the hallway drinking whiskey and Topo Chicos until bedtime. So that was fun, and that played into this story because Stu was one of the like more aggressive liquor drinkers. So we finally all go to bed. We're all ready to roll, waiting on Stu. I go up and his key is still in his lock. And this,
On
This
the
is
outside, yeah.
the T hotel, yeah. So his key is just chilling in the lock, and I'm too scared to like go in, right? Because Amber's in there as well. You don't do that. Um, so then I knock on the door, nothing. Go back down. I'm just like, you know what, we can leave. Uh, and everybody's like much more gracious. I'm just like, nah, fuck him. Like we waited. It's past
Well,
9:30.
remember, he spent the whole prior day saying that his wife always makes him late. He's like,
Mhm.
and I'm always 9 minutes late because of Amber. It's always Amber's fault. And then yeah, fast forward, and he was a little bit late to our.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we're about to like get up and go, he comes trotting down, nice and slow, making a steward entrance. Super funny. We went to a lovely brunch place. Do you remember the name?
Sunrise.
Sunrise. Sunrise Cafe.
Sunrise Cafe.
That sounds right. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool setup actually. You order and then go find a table together, and they were able to sit all of us. And it's like raining at this time, and we go into like a hallway, which I was just like, wow, this is like a tiny space. And then they take us to the back where it's a huge space, and there's like wonderful like foliage, there's cool plants everywhere, and there's like rain covers that are like, they look semi-permanent there, very, very solid. Maybe they do it just for the winter, but would be a really cool space on a sunny day. And it was a really cool
Mm-hmm.
space on a rainy day because it's just bah, 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 while we're eating. Really fun. Ashley and I had joked about her and the girls like following us to brunch and sending like drinks over to the boys secretly, and they ended up doing that, which was really cool. Herchelson and Amber, yeah, came out to brunch as well, and like they sent over a round of mimosas, which was really cool. Or I guess a giant mason jar of mimosa.
That turned into a round. Yeah.
Yeah, they turned into a round. So that was like a really cool thing. It reminded me like back in the day of like courting like groups of guys, groups of girls, like send them the drinks. Or I don't know. It was just fun highlight for me because it was something that we had like schemed up, and then it happened.
You did it. Yeah, you incepted her.
Yeah, and the food there was amazing. I loved my meal. I got eggs Benny. Always, it's like such a basic bitch breakfast, but I can't not order it.
It was good. And then we went to the bar to watch the
The World
football
Cup.
game.
Mm-hmm.
France, England. Mm-hmm.
France, England, and there was just this random fucking English bloke that was in our area. I don't know how he got there if he was there before us. He seemed like he was a regular, but yeah, this dude was like, he was having fun with us, dapping us up. He was clearly hammered. He was making a lot of jokes. He was just like very appreciative, like congratulations, like that's super huge for you. And who's your best man? And so he dapped me up, and in the beginning, I was just like, all right, this guy's like adding to our vibe. Then he offers to take a picture of us. And in doing so, he's like, gets really fixated on like telling jokes. And like nobody has jokes. I tell one that is like my go to dad joke. And then he drops that hard F bomb. And it was just like, oh, just
Yeah, I was like, wow.
like, what? This is weird now. Why'd you have, yeah, he lived long enough to become a villain. And so then from that moment on, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I was like in like best man mode of like, am I gonna have to like, grab him by the shoulder and like go buy him a drink on the opposite end of the bar just to like get him away from like Adam's family, and like, am I gonna have to do something like that? Luckily, England started losing bad, and so he took off. And I say bad, but yeah, that was really fun and really good because we had so much time to kill. As Adam was like excommunicated from the hotel while the ladies got ready in the third floor. yeah, there was only one like bat signal that was put in the sky by the bridal party. They wanted Diet Cokes. So me and Stu went on a run. We went to 7-Eleven and bought like 10 of their 12 Diet Coke bottles. Delivered it to the girls, and they were all
That's why you
appreciative.
guys left. I remember when you guys left, you said like, "Are we getting some for the bridal party?" And I thought that wasn't like we were included in that, like the groomsmen. And I was like, "Oh
Mm,
hell yeah, we got another surprise coming." And then it never came.
yeah, yeah, it was really cool. Like I mean, it was such like a simple, like easy thing. And they were like so gracious. Like they freaked out that we brought them Diet Cokes, almost as if like they did it jokingly just to see what would come from it. And then like here we are, just like a little, I don't know, genie. That's what happens on your wedding weekend. You can just like make demands, and people will take it super seriously, and we were all honored to do it. So it's cool that they were like juiced on it, and I don't know.
Appreciative. That's nice.
Yeah. And that soccer match was so dope. I was really hoping it would go into overtime to help us burn more time.
Mm-hmm.
But then it didn't. So then you should talk. I've been talking a lot.
And now I'm getting conscious of the network and how much time we're taking about this weekend. So I want to now do bullet points through the rest of it so we can get to the rest of the podcast. Which is funny because we reached the most important part, of course, is the ceremony, which was super nice. The venue was great.
Lovely.
The plastic above the courtyard was so clutch because it rained hard during the ceremony.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was fun to like get there a little early, and we do like pictures here, pictures there, pictures everywhere, snapping like candid pictures of Adam and Noel. But intermittently into there, you and O'Malley would like wander off and then like start practicing your speech to yourself. And especially O'Malley would like just wander off, and you'd see him in the corner of one of these rooms, and he'd be like silently like mouthing what he was gonna say, and then like occasionally if you're looking at him, you like catch your eye, but like continue to keep mouthing what he was like mouthing. O'Malley did great, man. And I know we all told you on the day, but just like watching him leading up to it, he was a little shook. He was a little shook.
Yeah. It's very obvious how like seriously he was taking that task, which is really cool. There's nothing worse than like somebody who's just like, oh, I'm gonna wing it, like all dads in a wedding. For some reason, that's like dad code means you cannot come prepared. You have to just wing it. Like my dad did that. Adam's dad did it. I think Stu's dad as well. It's so fun.
Ceremony was great. Our practiced entrance and exit was phenomenally pulled off, and then our entrance into the dining hall was great.
That was such a funny that was such a funny situation. It was like, all right, the guest cocktail hour has ended. It's time for everybody to go sit down in the dinner hall. Bridal party groomsmen, you hang out here. So we're like hanging out, like we're not really sure what's going on, what expectations are, right? And then the wedding planner's like, oh, there was that whole like situation, like Adam and Noah, like, do we tell them what song it is? Like one of the maids of honor was like, what song is it? I don't know. Like, am I supposed to get down? Like, she was like, oh, like freaking out. Like, what do I do with my hands? And then Adam and Noah are like, do we tell them? Do we not? Do we tell them? Do we not? And yeah, so then we just had to like improv our entrances to the grand dining hall, which was very funny to like pull off. I think
It was fun to come in, and then Stu and I went to one side, our bridesmaid went to the other side. But I was just like doing like the high five and people
that was really cool having all the boys there. Just yeah,
lovely dinner, lovely dance party, lovely speeches. Some really good ones. Alessandra's Noel's sister was great. It was funny, the themes, like everyone talked about their like the marathons they had run, and of course everyone talked about Frisbee, I like how you mentioned like Frisbee makes a bunch of leaders. We got a bunch of leaders in here because of Frisbee.
I know. Just on one table though.
Over here, we got some leaders over here.
Yeah. That's the rowdy side of the room is the leaders. Everybody else is being quiet. Bunch of sheeple.
Dancing was great after dinner. Everybody was getting down. And then back to the hotel. I again went to bed early. Oh no, we went to the Steiner's, the bar, and then we went to the hotel after that. Bedtime for Colin. Everybody else stayed up. Sunday we went and watched football, and then we all left one by one. You have any other weekend highlights you want to talk about before we get into mercifully these next segments?
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. It's super funny. Well, not super funny, very frustrating for Amber and Stu. Their car wouldn't start, the battery was dead. And so he called me up and was like, "Hey, can you bring your car over? Like, we needed to jump our car." Like, totally, yeah, Ashley, get on it. I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And we shout out, like, also that morning we got to watch the morning games with the boys. We were all like a shit show getting there, but it was pretty cool to see like the girls get to play like Sky Joe, and we'd like
That was
like,
awesome.
"Here's a Coke, babe. Here's some fries." Like just the kids table where you like occasionally like give them a little something, keep them entertained.
Yeah.
Which I just loved that. It was so fun, right? Like they were having a blast and we were getting to like hang out with each other. I 10 out of 10 would do that every single weekend. 100%. I'll buy all the fries for every weekend, no problem. But yeah, my car is a Fusion hybrid, and so it's got this crazy ass battery that doesn't.
Could you not help? Oh.
No, yeah. So you need a positive and a negative.
That's right.
Part of the battery, and that just doesn't exist on the Fusion where I knew to look. And I could like I'm feverishly YouTubing videos and just like looking up instruction manuals and all this shit for my stupid car. So then we call over tried and true Bacon, like Mr. Dependable, and he gets over there and Stu's reading the instructions on the jumper cables, and like once again it's still just not working, and like Bacon's like, "I've never done it this way before ever." Stu's like, "But the instructions, they say this," and he's like, "Yeah, well, let's just try it this way." And lo and behold, Bacon knows what he's talking about. Instant success. So yeah, classic Mr. Dependable shout out moment for Tyler Bacon. From there, Kelsey drove me and O'Malley all the way into the city, dropped me off. I'm super appreciative. That was really cool, getting like an hour ride just with them. I tried my best to hang out with everybody when you can,
Mm-hmm.
So I got a lot of Blake time during the wedding, and yeah, so it was nice to have that time. And then I got Alice and Evan and Jane and Charlotte time, and that was so lovely. That being said, the first night I slept for over 10 hours. I told Evan I normally wake up around 7. He's like, "Cool, we can have coffee and like hang out with the kids." I didn't wake up till 9. It was like,
It's a long weekend.
It was a long weekend with minimal sleeping, maximum hangovers. And Jen and Charlotte were just such a hoot to hang out with. I was like unemployed, so I could just hang out with them and the au pair, and it was really fun time. Great hosts, 10 out of 10. Would recommend anybody visit them and get some baby time because they're so cute. But yeah, that was. Oh, and then I took a 9-hour train ride from Oakland down to Santa Barbara, which was shockingly, it did not feel like 9 hours. It definitely was 9 hours, but I don't know. It was lovely. Like went to the cafe car, got myself a microwavable breakfast sandwich and a hot cocoa. Got down on that, and then they came around. I bought a business class ticket, so it was like none of that riffraff that you might find on an Amtrak train.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep those others in the other cart. But in business class, they came around like asking for lunch or dinner reservations. And I was like, oh, don't mind if I do. Turns out it was just a very expensive microwavable meal, but the
It's a train.
best microwavable burger that I've ever had. So that was cool. But yeah, that was a lovely train ride. I crushed an audiobook. So that was really fun. And I was nice and sore from a workout with Evan. So it was like nice recovery day.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Moving on. We've been talking for 40 minutes. I know, this is bad.
This is what the people call in for, to hear about the weekend.
We gotta shuffle some of these segments around, so we can talk about what people actually care about before we get to another segment. So I think we should do listener questions now.
Perfect. I just want to get this out of the way, though. I want to turn real quick.
That ties into my atonement that I had to do, which is also super long.
Damn it. Okay. Oh wait.
First question comes from Mr. Bacon, all reliable, the jump cable master. He asks, now that Adam has knocked me out of the playoffs with his week 14 wedding luck explosion, has he finally reversed the curse of 2014? I know. My answer to that was, whoa, great question.
I think it remains to be seen, right? He's in the playoffs now. If he can ascend to the money, then yes, the curse is reversed.
Yeah, I think a curse. Well, first of all, Adam is a back-to-back Sacco champion here. So Bacon, that curse was like deep and dark. So yeah, I kind of agree that until Adam also gets to hoist the champion trophy, it's in effect. Next question. Speaking of a two-time Sacco champion, back-to-back. From him, odd question. Will you be rooting for Argentina or France in the World Cup Sunday morning, and why?
I am going to be rooting for Argentina simply because of Messi. I think this is a very common answer for a lot of non-soccer fans. I think that Messi is, one of the greats. It'd be pretty cool to see him be able to, get that pinnacle achievement. Plus France just won, and I don't know. I've seen a lot of, like, videos of reporters getting mobbed by French fans, and it's so obnoxious and like I don't know. I just kind of think that it'd be cool for Argentina to win.
I also agree that I'd be rooting for Argentina because France just won and back-to-back winners are boring.
Yeah. Even though Mbappe is sick.
He is sick. He's sick. The team is fun to watch. They're good. They play some good football. Okay.
Yeah. They clearly outclassed Morocco. It was kind of crazy. Like, despite all of Morocco's opportunities, and like how many challenges or challenging moments they created, it felt like France was just like a league above. It felt like they were playing against the United States in a way. If there was like half the challenging moments. But it's crazy that France has had so many injuries and has made it back to the championship, right? Like, one of their starters tore his ACL in the first game. Two starters have also like pulled their hamstrings or something crazy, like had a bunch of illnesses. So kudos to them for being so deep. Like,
I also appreciate the strategy of resting starters and like playing your bench with the expanded rosters this time around. I don't really know much of soccer at all, but I think it was Argentina who lost to Tunisia in pool play. It might have been France. One of those teams played Tunisia and lost in pool play. Actually, I think it was France when I talk about it. Because they like emptied their bench, right? I think they had like locked up like advancing. And so they just like, classic, we're going to sit all of our stars and get them rests and like get our younger guys, right, the bench guys some playing time. So we'll be more fresh like down the line. I think it's cool to see that versus all these like cultures, right? You're bringing all these cultures from around the world together, and there's like all these different strategies. I mean, of course, some of it's going to be similar because they're playing the same game, but some will be widely different. And so it's cool to see those differences in strategy across all these teams.
Agreed.
Last listener question from Stu: who did the best and worst gritty at the wedding?
I abstain.
I think my slow-mo gritty was obviously the best. I think dark horse for one of the best was Adam's buddy from high school, Anthony. He like immediately just glommed onto the gritty idea, and he was all about it. And honestly, like I said in the group me, as for my memory is very hazy from that part onwards into the night. I remember being on the dance floor, and then I remember all of a sudden it was like 10 o'clock and they weren't serving any more wine, and then we left.
Yeah, it happened. The end happened so fast, and the same thing with the cocktail party. I was like, like they started cleaning things up like half hour before closing time. I was like, what? I want to get more wine quick before they go away. But yeah, the real answer here is Michael, Adam's friends.
Yeah, Michael he's got some moves.
He is a dancer.
A dynamo.
He is a He's dynamite.
He's dynamite.
Yeah, he was electric on the dance floor. I'm very jealous of his dance moves, his jeans. He was working out there.
I appreciate his hair too. It was getting all like wet and just flying around.
Yeah.
You can tell he's putting in some work. He's like he's going for it.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah. My answer is Michael, and the worst is all of you collectively. It was a bad look. Like I remember there was one moment where there was like a dance circle happening. It was like I like joined a different group of people that wasn't us, and then all of a sudden like a grittier came barreling through, and it was just like, well, this dance circle's over. Like,
it was kind of funny how like two circles formed. They were like back-to-back circles. Like we wouldn't have a big circle because for some reason one group didn't, appreciate the moves, another group was throwing down.
Yeah, me too. I'm anti-gritty.
Atonement segment. We got to speed this thing up. All right, now you may do one of your atonements. How about this one? Is this going to be the week 13 bet that you lost to me, or the week 14 bet that you lost to me?
Week 13, because 2 weeks is when interest starts to kick in. So
smart.
Yeah. So this shot bet is for Scott versus Bacon. I needed Scott to beat Bacon, so I would be in the playoffs. Turns out it didn't matter at all. Fuck.
My guy Bacon. He's on quite the hot streak. Although he's out of the playoffs.
This is way bigger than a normal shot. I forgot. The happy otter. Oh my god.
That's a happy otter. All right,
we'll
eliminate that one now. We'll say that you've done it.
Thank goodness.
All right. Now I have a ode to Stu. I will warn all you all now, this is about a 5-minute segment. So if you want to refresh your drink or pausing to the bathroom, I know you've been chatting a lot. I hope you all enjoy it. I spent a lot of time on it. Okay. Was the night before the draft when all throughout the Airbnb, every buckaroo was stirring. By far the most, Stewie. The games had been played all throughout Malibu. Everyone had survived their hangovers. Not the least surprising, Stu. Those drafts and seasons from long ago came to mind. Stu's championships before, dreams that had been realized, while some had been left behind. And Brad without his shirt and Bill with his belt had settled into more nemesis. All the buckaroo's excitement could be felt. When on one side of the table, there rose such a clatter. Stu had issue with the shot Max took. I had to ignore what was the matter. I remember Daddy playing drinking games by the hundreds. All of us buckaroos getting rowdy together. all ready for more beer, the fire burning in our bellies, the cans collecting in the doorway, the shots clanking on the counter, spilling of drinks and gesticulations galore. When Stu agrees to a drinking game, all his heart goes into it forevermore. Daddy would not only put his soul into drinking games, but also his music did he persevere. His studies and radio keys and solo projects, too many to count. Who could forget Dargan's stage? With his guitar, he would triumphantly mount. But all the vigor he brings to these performances, all pale in compare to his enthusiasm for all to see. Come, gaze upon me as I stone cold atop this chair. Now Evan, now Max, now Scott and P. Lee, on Adam, on Brad, on Bill and O'Malley, to the beer pong table, to the handle, to these East Wing Buckaroos 3. We cannot be outdrinking by Colin, Bacon, and Weevee. As I awoke in Livermore during a Sunday morning past, into the living room Stu came with a smile. A mighty and magnificent Bloody Mary did he hold. We would be enjoying libations and football for a while. The love for his wife, Amber, you may have met her. His care for Presley and Purd, demanding cats, their cries for food always heard. A dedicated friend, as shown at Evan's wedding, how he looked like a hired hand, put to work upon arriving. His pits, how they glistened, his dimples, how merry, his golf polo soaked through, his face red as a cherry. When I was a young adult, I remember watching him tear up the ultimate field as a teammate, both Black Tide and Sundowner, all the tournaments traveled to. And there was Daddy Stu, enthusiastically communicating with an opponent. Are you out of your skull? I roasted you. He has a broad face and a dad bod belly that shakes when he plays Stewart Island in the outfield, like a bowl full of jelly. He is magnanimous and fun, a right jolly old elf. And I smile when I see him in spite of myself. Whether instigating more drinking or nursing a hangover, Stu can be counted on for a good laugh, or to frustrate, shown by his dead of winter hostile takeover. An excited new dad to be, to him we tip our caps. An ardent group me poster, never allowing a long silence to elapse. Frisbee touchdown would not be the same without him, and his future is bright. Merry Stumas to all, and to all, good luck with your matchups starting tonight.
Wow, bravo. That was amazing. I'm so proud of you. That was legendary. See, folks, to quote Jeff Probst, this is what the People's Pod is all about. Creating that original content that the people will love. You left it all on the line.
I really did, Jeff. I really did.
I'm so proud of you. That was amazing.
I almost bailed on it again today because it's a lot. It was a lot. It's a lot of work. But very happy I did it, and thank you for the appreciation.
Fuck.
And with that, I think we should just hop right into the Golden Nuggets, Fool's Choice, and then these matchups that we got going. Because
just
please,
before we do that, I just remembered that Bacon and I drunkenly had a bet on our matchup. And so coming to a group me near you, I will be posting a video sometime.
A video with
soon.
Stu.
Yeah. Woof. All right. Yeah. Damn. I am not doing well with my gambling this season. Oh my God. I'm all burpy after that whiskey.
Golden Nuggets and Fool's Choice. Let's do week 14 matchups. I'll start with, this one is fun. It's our biggest blowout. We got Cuck Me Black versus a Dearth and Talent. Golden Nugget, Jamar Chase is back and healthy for you, Pebs. He is the person that you traded for. He was helped a little bit by both Boyd and Higgins being out of that game after their first drive. But that being said, he's the man. So, you know, if you're going to ride anybody to the not Sacco, it's probably going to be Mr. Chase. Fool's choice, of course, was playing Kyler Murray against New England as opposed to Jared Goff against Minnesota. Goff has been putting up some consistent points where I feel like Kyler's been a little hit or miss. I guess he did put up 25 points. Well, that was against the Chargers, and the Chargers are fucking terrible. I don't know. I feel like we're always talking on this pod about how Belichick eliminates the other team's best player. And so, not playing Goff is kind of rough. Next matchup.
We've got the second biggest blowout of the week. And actually, I want to say the fool's choice for Cut Me Black was not benching your last player to allow Adam to have the money on his groom weekend. It's something that I had thought about. I probably would have done it if I was in your situation. The win was already locked up. Yeah, fool's choice there. You greedy son of a black. But who am I to judge? I haven't won the money in fucking forever.
3 years?
Score. Since the dawn of time, we're going to talk about Dak and the Stackle again versus Etienne Good in the neighborhood. The Golden Nuggets for your team are that Tony Pollard has been excellent for you this season. Like, who knew that would work out the way it has this year? You also, Golden Nugget, had already locked down the bye, so that's excellent for you. You hadn't locked it in, but Scott losing also sealed the deal for you. So that's the biggest Golden Nugget for you. You haven't lost that many times this season, so we haven't had to do this segment for you very often. Brandon Ayuk seems to have a connection with Big Dick Purdy, so that's
I gotta pick that guy up.
That's pretty exciting. Don't you fucking even think about it, dude. Our team can't handle it. We won't stand for it. Hawkinson is just great, but yeah, the Golden Nugget is you have a first round bye despite losing, so your team can rest up, think about the choices that they've made, and you don't have to worry about your stack producing this weekend in 6 inches of snow. That's huge. That huge implications. They might combine for like 12 points on Sunday. So well done earning that bye.
Fool's choice?
No fool's choice here. I mean, I guess fool's choice starting Tampa Bay against San Francisco. The worst when you scored negative points.
Yeah, you're telling me. All right, we'll move on. Next matchup we'll do will be It Hurts When 4 Men Are Inside Me versus The Bone Saw Is Ready. This was a close one, separated by less than 3 points. Well, I want to do a Golden Nugget that's not an obvious one, because I think we talk about Jalen Hurts and Tyreek Hill every single week. New England defense was a great play. They've been kind of hot and cold this year, but they really fucked up Arizona, in part because Kyler left, of course. But still, I got negative 4 points out of my defense, and you got 20. So great job with that, Bill. Your fool's choice. This was actually a really fun meme. Was not playing Josh Reynolds, who you had acquired via trade months ago, on the week that he finally produces. And instead, you played Jobber Evans, who he hasn't scored a touchdown since October. Not actually a fool choice. I definitely would play Mike Evans too, but it is funny that Reynolds actually did something on your bench.
Yeah, that is funny. All right, next matchup. We got Smuggy Chubby Chubby versus Maxwell Dunn. Stupid team name. What the hell? Your golden nugget is that you picked up the Okonkwo Finoki Swamp.
That's right. The real Okefenokee Swamp. We're coming full circle here, Black.
I have nightmares about this because I was for days struggling whether or not to pick this guy up. I mean, Njoku is like coming back, so it's like, oh, I've got a nice tight end. And so I was just like dreaming about this fucking guy. You picked him up, and he seems like he's going to be a very, very solid contributor to your team. So that's really annoying for your team. Additionally, you have the first round bye. Those are your two golden nuggets. Fool's choice for you. It doesn't matter when you're at the top. You can break any law you want. You got enough money to pay lawyers to deal with it. This is capitalism, baby.
Dude,
in the sports world.
Yeah, kind of rough week for old Smuggy Chubby. Getting negative points out of my defense. Tyler Boyd gets injured on the second play of the game and is out. Huntley gets concussed and is out in the first half. It didn't matter at all. Well, actually, that's not true, because if O'Malley would have won, he could have eclipsed me, although he was going up against some Adam wedding magic. But yeah, little touch and go there. Next matchup, we got kicker I hardly knew her versus Thomas the Take Engine. Have you added another O to your name? Nah.
I'm over it.
You're over it.
I hate fantasy.
Okay, so the side note, you're back in your like happy zone. Maybe I should rephrase that. You're back in your
comfort zone
of just this like the first round beer bracket bye, where
every single fucking year.
Bacon, the other one, who you guys are now the most boring teams in the entire league.
Fantasy is effectively over for me. I'm just going to contribute to my lowest average finish once again. Just in fucking bottom feeder. Ugh.
Well, your golden nugget is the Kansas City defense against Denver. Denver is not. Well, they put up fucking a ton of points though. How weird. They still got 15 points though. Told you my boy Dulcich was not going to really do much, so that's a little vindicated. Call. Whatever. Your acquisition of both Geno Smith off the waiver wire and then Eckler via trade have been phenomenal moves. Getting 2 zeros in your lineup is a rough go. You're listening to me complain. You had 2 zeros and a 1 in your lineup as well. That's sad. We won't even do a fool's choice for you because you're already locked in the boring finish to the season.
The fool's choice was talking about we had mentioned that Bacon had a big bye week on this podcast multiple weeks ago
about that past weekend,
and that clued him in to start making moves earlier than he would have. That was the fool's choice.
Did he actually say that he made moves because of that?
He mentioned it when we were at the bar.
There are many times where I think about sharing something on this podcast, and then I mentally weigh the am I sharing too much? Like, for instance, right now you have all of your players on the bench. So if one of them gets injured, you can drop them without any penalty, as opposed to having them locked in your starting lineup, which I told you before we started recording, I also plan to do. And I thought about mentioning that on this podcast, but now it's a great example to mention. So I've mentioned it. So everybody, if you have a bye this week, bench all of your players. So I guess it's only 4 of us, but
yeah.
All right.
I'm a good fucking fantasy player. My results do not match my fucking abilities. It's so brutal. Year after year, injury. Last year, King Henry going down. The year before was Le'Veon Bell holding out for the entire season, I think. Fucking kill me. Oh,
That's why it's gambling. We are gambling.
I just blood red mad.
Blood
Let's
Red
finish
Dad.
this stupid segment with Blood Red Dad versus Scott Nevernig, Scotty Novum.
Yeah, what do you got?
I think it's crazy that the top three seeds lost to the playoff contenders. Really cool, but also the worst for me personally. I just needed one of you fucks to win, including myself. I didn't need Scott to win, but golden nugget for you, sir. Yeah, oh, I saw this stat. It's insane. Travis Kelce has 99 more points than Mark Andrews, who is in second place in tight end land. That is insane. Like that's how terrible the tight end position has been this season. Remarkable. Another golden nugget is I shared this in the group me target share percentages of like elite fantasy players. That in that post on group me, it was targeted towards Zay Jones, but on that list was DeAndre Swift. He's number 2 in the league for target share on his team. And everybody knows that elite running backs in fantasy football require targets and receptions, except for King Henry. He's like the exception to the rule. So that's pretty darn epic right there. It looks like Kenneth Walker is a go. Not sure you're going to play him this week, but that's a huge boost to your team if so, because he has been so solid for you this year. But yeah, those are your 2 golden nuggets. Kelce has just been in a league of his own his whole career, including this season. And then, yeah, DeAndre Swift being an elite target hog. Fool's choice for you. I still don't understand why you're rostering 2 kickers and you have an empty bench spot. So get on the hoarding train with everybody else. I appreciate your sacrifice. So those other bottom feeders. You're like, this is where you pick up those like just random like injury risk or like a handcuff. Just why not?
Definitely.
Bench spot. That's a fool's choice. But anyways.
All right. Let's do shotgun this week's matchups and then get out of here.
Okay. Who are we starting with?
It hurts when 4 men are inside me versus Cuck Me Black.
Oh, yeah. I've got Big Daddy Bill. Big Tua is playing in a snowstorm, which hurts Tyreek Hill. So probably hurts Tyreek Hill more. He might be able to like catch a 1-yard pass and take it to the house, but that's you never want to see a red snowflake next to your player. That's super fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of crossover in this matchup. We got a lot of Bears and Eagles going for both sides, which I think that could be a lopsided affair. So especially like Sanders versus Hurts, the Eagles go up big. They just start running out the clock. That could be a big game for Sanders, who has been crushing it as of late. But so has Hurts, and Hurts is definitely liable to look at his fucking in the last month. His lowest score is 24.2. Man, I don't want to agree with you. Brad just won the money. Juju had a crazy game, and they're playing the listless Cardinals. No, I'm going with Brad. I'm going with Cuck Me Black. I predicted that he would beat Pebbles last week and bring himself out of the cellar. And I'm just going to ride shirtless Brad.
Oh, your guys' bond is so deep. It's so cute.
All right, what next matchup would you like to do?
A dearth of talent. A dearth of IR talent versus the Angels in the outfield. And I'm going to need a coin for this one because it is just too close to call.
Oh, we got to bring that coin back.
Yeah. So I'm going A heads is for Peebly. A tails is for Stewart. It's heads. Peebly it is. I'm going with the legend. He's been making moves for weeks to avoid the Sacco, and I think
And
that
not one of them has worked.
I think fantasy is fickle, and so it's probably not going to work this week, but maybe next week. But yeah, I'm hoping that the coin doesn't lie and Pebbles takes the W here, despite the Bush lead by Stewart.
Pebbles made a great acquisition of the Denver defense. He spent 15 waiver bucks on them, which was great. They're playing the Cardinals, who have a backup QB going, and then next week they're playing, I think it's the Rams, who also have a backup Baker going. So savvy move there, Pebbles. Although I'm going to disagree, I'm going to take Stu because I think he's got a bunch of betas that were dressed as alphas, that were dressed as betas, that were dressed as alphas, that are actually alphas. And Justin Fields is back, and he's going to have to do some work against the Eagles. So that's a stiff defense. I'm taking Stu.
Very nice. Yeah, Philly's a tough defense. We'll see what happens there. How fun.
Now to the champ bracket. We got Scott the newlywed.
I'm going with the newlywed. I think he's riding this momentum off into the sunset. He's getting married. He's getting back to his glory days. He's going back to his roots. And he's going to win. He's going to take the W. Evan Ingram with a 33-point game last week. What the fuck was that?
Yeah.
After I had just finished talking shit on him.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
That's not going to happen again. Adam is trying to break that bacon curse still. He got the Stackle against Jacksonville, which could be a high scoring affair. And he's got Ingram, which he talked about in that game. Oh, yeah, this one. I mean, Scott's been a very boomer busty team this year. He's got Mr. Van Jefferson, who also found the end zone last week. Got Kelsey, we just talked about. He, although he's down in Bush right now, has a 0-point Pierce in there. So this is without Mr. Kenneth Walker. They're playing the SF Niners, which is a historically tough defense. On Adam's side, we got Mr. Mike Williams, who's back, seemingly, although he always fluctuates his games between boom and bust. So who knows which version of that we'll get. But then we get Derrick Henry against the LAC and their sieve of a run defense. Now I'm just gesticulating. We're going to go with Adam.
Yeah.
Both taking Adam.
Adam's team is finally healthy. And you love to see that. That's all that matters in fantasy, right? Like health and luck. Last week I had 3 players get tackled on the 1-inch yard line. If all 3 of those people score, then I'm in the playoffs. It's fucked, but that's the name of the game. And actually, Scott's been riding on luck a lot this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if he randomly high spots the league this week, despite starting both Lions running backs. It's pretty wild.
Lions are putting up points. Last matchup, we got Rainbow Bison Dick versus DeBone Saws Ready. I must say that I don't want to play either of these gentlemen in the next round, and I will be playing one of them. One of them I recently defeated, and one of them recently defeated me. Both teams are scary. Man. I am going to take Evan. I've taken Evan because he's, we've talked about it. He's leaning on the Red Sea of all these Chiefs and Niners. And I think both of those teams, starting with tonight, Niners against the Seahawks, have good matchups to put up some points. Yes. So I'm going with Evan.
Very nice. I will be going with Maxwell. I think that he has the best running backs in the business currently. If he can get a remotely good game out of Kamara and Pat Freiermuth, if the Muth can minimize
The Moose is loose.
if the Muth can take on the Mandrews, then I think this is solidly in Max's court. DeBonesaw has a lot of like trinket players. Trinket players. I don't know what the fuck that means.
Gadget.
Like Thielen, he and I talked about this a lot when I was at his house. Like Thielen is very much a touchdown dependent guy. Like Elijah Moore went on this crazy hot streak to end last season, and he's been just bunk this whole year. But last week he put up 10 points. So is he like going on the late season push again? Who knows? But I think that Max's team is stronger overall. He's been wheeling and dealing, and it's paid off. He's in the playoffs, despite a very sketchy last week. He had to get into the pre-quarters. He had to get past the pre-quarters first. So I'm going with Max.
All right, so let's see. We have all matchups with different picks, except we were both taking Adam over Scott, which might help my podcast or curse him.
Damn, I did bad last week. 3-3. You and Adam both went 5-1. Sorry.
Yes, league pick 'em.
Adam's in the lead again with 54 points. At this point, we're gonna have to like pay him 3 bottles.
Closing thoughts.
I wish you all the best of luck. I'm sad that my fantasy season ended this early. Yeah, good luck to the Sacco contenders, the ultimate buckaroo contenders. Good luck to the championship contenders. And for all of us on bye, enjoy the stress-free weekend, right? Because like, not really cheering for one team over another, like it's fantasy.
This is the weekend you got to
random.
put in the time with the significant others.
Yes.
Like, you know what, babe? I don't need to watch any football. Well, what do you want to do today?
Yeah. Get your Christmas shopping done on Sunday. Like get rid of all the chores that you might need to do next week because you got some free time. Yeah, that's it. I love you all so much. I miss you all already. Big hug. Maybe it's that whiskey shot or the eggnog speaking, but I really am juiced. Yeah, it's like the end of the season woes for me, but like I can't imagine my life without y'all. It's ridiculous. This podcast is so stupid, but you all listen to it and like we have such fun jokes, and the amount of stress that goes into this is so ridiculous, but it's truly, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So like, cheers to you all.
A Merry Stewmas to all and to all.
We are the people, and this is our podcast. I wrote a jingle because I cut command. There was a battle between the smug man and the one true smuggest mug. It did stand up. Wish you had pants, cause now I'm feeling cut. We are the people, and this is our podcast.